Thank you so very much for tuning into the Stewart Guide broadcast with your host, Dr. Charles Burton Jr. I thank you again so much for being so kind to tune into our broadcast today as we share and educate on the areas that affects us and our family. Today, our subject thought matter for today is it's in you. I repeat, it is in you. I'm going to give a biblical viewpoint, but from a moral and business perspective, that how these things affect all of us the same way. My biblical principle is going to be coming from the book of Genesis, from the Amplified Version, Genesis chapter 1, verse number 20. It says, "Then God said, let the waters swarm and abundantly produce living creatures, and let birds soar above the earth in the open expanse of the heavens." God created the sea, monsters, and every living thing that moves, and which the waters swarm according to their kind. Keep that thought. To their kind, and every wind bird according to its kind. And God saw that it was good, and he affirmed and sustained it. And God blessed them, saying, be fruitful, multiply, and fulfill the waters of the seas, and let the birds multiply the earth. And there was evening, and there was morning of the fifth day. Then it says in verse 24, then God said, let the earth bring forth living creatures according to their kind, livestock, crawling things, and wild animals of the earth according to their kind. And it was so. So God made the wild animals of the earth according to their kind, and the cattle according to their kind, and everything that creepeth and crawls on the earth according to its kind. And God saw it is and was good, and he affirmed and sustained it. And verse 26, it says, then God said, let us make man in our image, according to our likeness, but at a spiritual, personal, and moral likeness, and let them have complete authority over the fish of the sea, the birds of the air, and the cattle, and over the entire earth, and over everything that creepeth and crawleth on the earth. So God created man in his own image. In the image and likeness of God created him male and female. And God blessed them, granting them certain authority, and said to them, be fruitful and fill the earth, subjugate it, putting it under your power, and rule over, dominate the fish of the sea, the birds of the air, and everything that moves on the earth. He further said, so God said, behold, I have given you every plant yielding seed is of the surface of the entire earth, and every tree which has fruit yielding seed, it shall be food for you, and to all the animals of the earth, and to every bird of the air, and to everything that moves on the ground. To everything in which there is breath of life, I have given everything he has made, and behold, it was good. And he validated it completely. And there was evening and morning of the sixth day. As I said, it's in you. I repeat, it's in you. A lot of times we look at things and we say, somebody said, okay, it's in me. What's in me? In you, from the Creator, He has given you a seed in you that has been designed specifically to sustain you, sustain your life, sustain your family, and have the provision to sustain your life. But what we do, we spend our life trying to measure up to an economic system that doesn't benefit us, because it is based upon rules and principles that have not been effectively taught to us. Let me explain to you what I mean by that. There are so many times that you find yourself going out, going to school, whether college or university, trade school, and learning gifts and trades of things that have been painted to us in a way to be this person or be that person. This is what we should be. And the reality is, that's not the seed of your talent that's in you. All those other things that you may go and ascertain and do will not sustain you. It'll be good for a time being. It'll seem nice and joyous and happy on the surface. It may allow you to get some benefits, maybe to get a trip here, buy a couple things there. But once you get those little basic things out of the way, you're frustrated. You find yourself frustrating that I have to get up early in the morning and go to this job that I really hate. I'm being placed in an environment that I don't even want to be there. I don't want to deal with these people. I don't want to deal with the customers. I don't want to deal with the executives. Not on this level. And after everything is said and done, they give you a love offering, is what I call it, to say thank you for showing up and doing my work and making me rich. Where that you could not take that money of your sweat equity and just put it in the bank and everything, all your bills paid. You can't do that because the way that we've been conditioned, we're doing that because we call ourselves making a living. And we're not doing the things which we were created to do. All of the things that we enjoy and we benefit from and enjoy in our lives right now, currently, were created by someone who actually took what was in them and brought it to us. That seed that's inside of them, that has been harboring all of their lives, now has sustained them, their family, and their family. And we just basically get by and say, why couldn't that be me? The reason why it can't be you is because the things in our society perpetuate for us to do everything else except master the gift that's inside of us. Master the things that God Himself created in you to sustain your life. When you do things just to get by, or you think that they call it immorality, doing the right thing just to get by, they never last. It's always a temporary fix. It's not sustaining because you will burn out, because you're being forced to do something against your will, subliminally and psychologically. You're not doing this because this is what you were designed to do. You're doing it out of necessity to call yourself sustaining yourself. That's not really sustaining yourself, because look at all of the things that you see in your life and it just makes you say, wow, and it awes you. Those things were created by those gifts in the inside. And the thing about it is, even if it appears on the surface it's the same thing, the truth of the matter is no one can do it better than you. I repeat, no one can do it better than you. This was what and why you were created. You will affect lives of families, lives of communities, lives of nation, lives of the world, from that same sustaining seed that's in you. But most of us become distracted and never develop that gift that's in you. Or because of someone criticizes you, belittles you, don't support you, or you may have limited resources that you think, I can't do this. It's impossible to be done. Oh yeah? Ask Jeff Bezos that from Amazon. that seed of what he wanted to do. On the surface, it seemed that he failed. But the one thing that's so admiring about him, of what he was able to accomplish, he still developed and refined the seed that was inside of him. Now, going back to what I said through the Word of God, he has the ability of financial wealth from that seed of his talent that's inside of him. He can never spend all of the money that he has accumulated from that gift. There is no receptive person when it comes down to God's creation, who we all are. The problem is that we spend our time trying to achieve man-made goals that do not help, do not develop, nor strengthen our inner gift. You may say, well, how do I find out what my gift is? Okay, let me share with you something about me. From a very young age, I guess maybe 7 or 8 years old, I had the ability to be musically inclined. I can play multiple instruments and that type of stuff, and I could sing okay, more than just holding a tune. And I was pretty good at it. Still am to this day. But here was the point. Although I was good at it, it still did not sustain my life. I still had to go out. No matter as good as my talent was, I still had to go out and get a job just to keep a roof over my head. And even though I had some education and a few degrees above my back, I still had to go out and get another job. At first, okay, you make a certain amount of money, you feel that you've arrived, they use that term so much, but I haven't arrived. All it was that instead of me liquidating it all in one day, I would liquidate it over 4 or 5 days. And that's exactly what happens to most of us. But that wasn't my gift. How I know what my gift was, this is a clear sign of you identifying what your gift is. You can do it without even thinking. And when others see you do it, they are amazed of the amount of effort and energy that you put into it. You are them. My ability or my gift that I knew as a young child, and I didn't know what it was even called, could even identify it was. I learned over time. I am a communicator. I'm a teacher. I'm an influencer. That was my gift. I don't care what background that you are from. When you get around me, you're going to know that you have had an interaction with me, because you're going to sense, you're going to feel, And you're going to understand in your heart that there's something different about this guy. I knew this as a young man. And I did everything in my power to do everything else except learn how to properly communicate. I helped more people just by properly communicating and encouraging them. I call it just being me. The truth of the matter, I didn't know how really powerful that statement was. That's who I really was. That's what I made the biggest impact. I influenced so many others' lives. I was not taught that. It just began to germinate, like sprouting up like a spring from inside and come out of my mouth. That's the same type of things that's in you. That sustaining seed is in you. So why are you going to continue to keep going only to that low-paying job or average or a little bit above average job when you have something in you that can make you billions and zillions of dollars? And nobody can do it but you. It won't even be manifested unless you do it. It's more than just, people use this phrase, positive thinking. It's good to think positive. But with thinking requires action. So, where are you going? What are you doing? Are you going to spend the next 10 years of your life in the same position, the same job, and you say, okay, I'm going to retire? This is the funny part about that. I'm not saying walk out and advocate, walk out from your job and not have any resources. I'm saying this. If you even work on one job for 25 or 30 years, how many of those individuals you think have in their bank accounts at least $200,000, which is not a lot of money? How many of those individuals have that type of money in their bank account? Their home paid in full. Their children went to school, did not have to take out a loan. They live in an environment that they want to be in, not because it was the lowest home in the area, I can get it cheap. They live in an environment where they're safe as they're getting older, without minimal crime, can go into nice areas, can explore the world and other ideas and cultures. And at this stage of your life, you can just literally do something that you want to do. Be able to enjoy your grandkids, your nieces, your nephews. Impact somebody else's life. And don't even worry about the expense of that. Just because you have the ability and the resources to do it. Not to be self-prideful at all, but just for the gratification that you can help. You can do that when you allow what's in you to be developed, cultivated, and used. It's more than just acknowledging it. Development requires time. Development requires commitment. Development requires action. Development, will also challenge you. You may get a lot of criticism when you develop what's inside of you. But when you utilize it and do it, it will be transforming to everything that you ever achieve. It is that life-changing. It will cause you to broaden your thinking farther than you ever thought in your entire life. Because it is the real you. It may not be always understood. It may not initially have all the merits and accolades with that, but don't let that stop you. Keep going. And at some point you'll find it'll begin to open up, and more individuals will begin to see the light that's inside of you, the true gift that's inside of you, and want to share and be a part of who you are. Because that is what you was designed to do. So I ask you, where do you go from here? You may ask, how do I start? The first thing you do in implementing what I'm saying to you and discovering it is stop talking and listen to you. Start looking at your life, where you are and where you want to go. And see. You'll be amazed to see how far you really came. It may not on the surface look like you have a lot of revenue for what you've done. It's because you have not allowed what's in you to sustain you. So if you have heard something from this broadcast that's helpful and uplifting to your life, I would appreciate it if you would subscribe to our channels. If you have any questions or things that you would like to share with me, feel free to send us an email. We'd love to be able to talk to you. But always departing, I say to you, tell a family member, tell a friend that Dr. Charles Burton is on the air. Always be a blessing to yourself and your family. To our next broadcast.